morning, everyone. You all look so beautiful. Say good morning, Mommy. You all look so beautiful. We want to say thank you again for coming out and supporting the cause. I'm just going to give you a little bit of information as to why we continuously do this every year, and we have started 6 years ago. So domestic violence, I'm sure maybe you have or have not experienced, comes in all shapes and sizes, all colors and backgrounds, all races and all religions. Married couples, single couples, young kids, they in some point have maybe someone you know or yourself has experienced domestic violence. Well, that brings me to our mission story. About 6 years ago, a best friend of ours, Miss Venus Scott, her mother, Miss Vicki Myers, was untimely murdered by her abuser. Venus lived in Florida along with her sister Vaughn, and they got the news via telephone by a well-being check that their mother was no longer here. And from that moment forward, we decided to make a pact that we would stand up and we would speak out against domestic violence. And it impacted us so much that we have been doing this now for going on 6 years, and we've had some tremendous support. We've got our regular people come. We've got more people, I'm sure, that are going to join us as the years go on. So I just really want to say thank you for helping us to spread the mission that domestic violence is not okay, it's not acceptable, and it does lead to unfortunate death if you are not proactive in trying to get out of the situation. And we want to touch our young girls and men at these ages so that they understand that your self-esteem and who you are is so, so very important. And God made you divine. So you have no business letting anyone try to tell you different. And you keep your head up, and if you see or feel or think it's hurt, love is not hurt, love is not abuse, and you tell someone or you get help, okay? And we are all here as a community to help you do such, okay? So we love you so very much. We're gonna get started with the program. So first we're gonna have a lovely, lovely group within the community come up and give us an awesome performance. We're having Miss Rocher and Miss, okay, Karshina first, right. Okay, so we're gonna have you guys come up and introduce your group with your lovely purple. Yes, Divine Purpose Revealed is their organization, and they have all these beautiful young ladies that you see here dressed in purple that are gonna entertain us this morning. Thank you so much.
Hello, how you guys doing? So just a little bit about our organization. We are a 501(c) organization on the south side of Chicago. And kind of what we do, we go into impoverished neighborhoods and we offer arts programming. And so today you'll just see a little bit of what we offer. We are located in 2 Southside Chicago elementary schools, and we're just teaching them, like she said, purpose, what their purpose is, what their gifts are, and we're providing that platform at a low cost. And so today, you're gonna see our youth dancers. They know why we're here. We're in purple because we're all coming together to stand against domestic violence. My name is Karshina Washington. My partner is over here recording. Her name is Rocher Johnson Landrum, and we are excited to be here, and we're so honored to have our girls come up today. So if you would give them a hand as they come.
belongs to you. My hallelujah belongs to you. You deserve it. You deserve it. You deserve it. You deserve it. All of the glory belongs to you. 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 You deserve it. 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 Hallelujah. 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 All the praise. You deserve it. You deserve it. You deserve it. You deserve it. You deserve all the glory, all the honor, all the praise. You deserve it. You deserve it. You deserve it. You deserve Hallelujah belongs to you. Hallelujah belongs to you. My hallelujah belongs to you. My hallelujah belongs to you.
Alrighty, so again, thank you, Divine Purpose Revealed. You all are beautiful. That was an amazing performance, and we'll get a chance to see them again before our program is over. So the next beautiful young lady I'm going to introduce to you is near and dear to our hearts. We've been friends for over 20 years, and we love her so, so much. And she's going to give her testimony. The thing that's special about Miss Winters is that this is her first time speaking about what she's been through in her life. So we are so honored that she chose this platform to be the first time that she's able to stand up and speak out. So I'm not going to get emotional. I'm going to let her come up and tell you all her story. We love you. Miss Asia Winters, please.
right. Well, good morning, everyone. I'm a little nervous because I don't speak publicly often, especially about something so close to my heart. So, um, where do I start? I first want to say that for a long time, I couldn't myself identify with being in a domestic violence situation or thinking that I was in an abusive relationship. So to speak out about it now means that I've come to a place of acceptance and reality of what was really going on in my life. So hopefully this blesses somebody so they'll know. So to start off, I was in a relationship for 10 years, and I had 3 children in this relationship, and not every day was a bad day. Not every day was an abusive day. Sometimes it would go months and months and months, and there would be no fighting or arguing in the household. So I didn't see it like that. I didn't see abuse, but there was always in the beginning probably red flags that if I had been wiser and more mature, I could have paid attention to in the beginning. It was always controlling. It was always about him and his needs and what he felt was right or wrong. And I started to go inside myself and, hide who I really was so that I could become the reflection that I was supposed to be. All of this was happening on a subconscious level. I didn't know that this was the change that was happening in my life. It just slowly progressed into me becoming what I was supposed to be. And as I got older, because like I said, it was 10 years. So as I came out of my early 20s, going into my late 20s and early 30s, I started to feel differently, and I desired change in my life. And there was always like fighting throughout, fighting while I was pregnant, fighting in front of people. It was always some kind of drama and chaos here and there. And so the final straw, so I don't go into too many details, that really started to put the nail in the coffin for this and me standing up and getting out of the situation was, well, there were actually 2. So the last time it was a fight, it was really bad. After I had my youngest daughter, who was 2, I went back to school because I hadn't been working in a while, and I went back to school, and then after I got out of school, I got a job. So the job created it was such a disruption in the household because it created freedom and movement for me. So therefore, it disrupted, the order that was supposed to be there, the silence that was supposed to be there, because now I have the ability to move how I want, say what I want. I have more money for myself so I can get out if I need to. So that created a problem. And a lot of fighting and arguing started. And the kids were home. So every day I pray for healing for them because they were directly but indirectly affected by what was happening. And so the last time we got into a fight, I came home, and of course I was messing with somebody at my job. It was always somebody. So I must have been having an affair or talking to somebody, so this caused a problem, and I'm saying, no, there's nothing going on. You're just overreacting. But no, it started a fight, and it was probably the worst fight. And my kids were at home asleep, but I'm pretty sure that they heard it. It was late at night, and he started to fight with me, and I was scared to fight back because I did not want to die. So So I just let it go on for hours. And as a consequence, my finger was broken, my nose was busted, and black eyes. And all I could do to make it stop was comfort him so that he could calm down. Because if I fought back, it would trigger something and it would get worse. So I just wanted him to calm down. So as I'm soothing him with blood running down my face, my finger broke. I knew that this was probably the lowest moment of my life. And I would never get back to this place once I got out. And eventually, he decided he was going to move out. I think the guilt from that last fight really got to him because he knew that he had crossed the line. And he moved out. He took the couch, he took the TV, stuff that my kids used every day. But I didn't care. I was just glad that he was leaving. Take whatever you want, just go. And he was gone for a few weeks, but he was around the corner, so he would drive past and he would come and check up on us and stuff like that. And the last time he was there, I was at home with the kids. I had got off work and I was in my gown, and he was coming to the windows and banging on the doors. I wouldn't let him in, so he kicked the door in and started to wrestle with me. I called my mom before he got there. I said, Mom, something is finna happen. I feel it. Something bad is finna happen. I need you to be on the phone with me because I just feel like he's gonna come back around here. And sure enough, he came and he kicked in the door and he's trying to argue with me and trying to get the phone from me so he could talk to my mom. All in this process, we had a dog, and the dog got out. And so the dog jumped up and he bit me during this fight. I got bit in the face, in the arm, in my head, and I was in shock. And I ran out the house in just my gown, and I was going to get in my car, but I guess he was just so distracted trying to see what I'm doing. He left his car in the driveway. I took off in his car, got halfway down the street, and was like, Lord, my kids, I gotta go back. So I tried to find a police officer. I got a police officer. We came back to the house, and he was gone. And I packed up everything I could, and I got out of there. I moved in with my mom, and I had to stay with my mom for a few months until God blessed me with an angel who was able to give me an apartment. And I will never go back. So it's been a year now since that incident, and God has brought me so far. One, I'm independent. I've never been able to say that I've been on my own because I went from my mom's house in with him, and I've never been able to be the woman who could stand on her own and support herself and her family. And I was always scared that I needed somebody to depend on. And God wanted me to know that you don't need anybody but me. And I do this so that anybody else who may go through this, who may hear this, may see something similar. If you ever see any red flags, any warnings that come up, trust yourself. Trust your gut. There is no love in it. Jealousy is not love. If he's too jealous, it's something wrong. That's a red flag. That's possessive. And that's not love. Get out as soon as possible, because what it will do is it will turn toxic and you won't even know it. You'll just be living in it. You'll be so used to it that it becomes your reality. And it's hard to get out once it's your reality. And once that happens, you have to stand with yourself. You have to go within with God, because only He could get out. I pray every day, God, how am I going to get out of here? I don't have a way. I don't have a job. I don't have money. I mean, sure, people were saying, come with me, stay with me. You don't have to go through this. But I was so scared that everything would go wrong. What about my kids? What about this? that I didn't make a move until the door was open, kicked in literally. And I knew that that was my escape and I could never go back and I never will. So now anytime I'm talking to any person, if I'm dating or anything, if anything triggers a feeling that something's not right, I go with it. I will wait on the Lord and He'll send the right person in my life. I don't know. I just feel like that's really all I have to give about my story. And I appreciate the ability to do this. Thank you.
And again, it's so emotional for us with Asia's stories because, you know, we've been knowing Asia, like I said, for over 20 years. And Asia is a very well put together woman, gorgeous woman. And throughout that time, we had no idea that she was going through this situation. So to hear it in detail and to hear that this was her reality at one point, not anymore, thank you God, but at one point it was, just makes it more harder for us because she actually came out and revealed it. So we thank you again so much for speaking your truth. So next we have a special guest, our baby girl Nia. Where is she? Here she is. She did our eyes this morning, got us all glamified. She's going to come and have a selection, sing a solo selection for us with her beautiful voice. This is our baby. We adopted her.
There's a voice that cries out in the silence, searching for someone to love him, longing for a child that will give him their all, give it all. He wants it all. There's a God that walks over the earth. He's searching for a heart that is desperate, longing for a child that will give him their all, give it all. He wants it all. And he says, love me with your whole heart. He wants it all today. Down, let go of your idols. He wants it all today. Bow down, let go of your idols. He wants it all today. He wants it all today. He wants it all today. So give it all. And there's a God that walks over the earth. He's searching for a heart that is desperate and longing for a child that will give him their all, give it all. He wants it all. And he said, love me with your whole heart. He wants it all today. Serve me with your life now. He wants it all today. Bow down, let go of your idols. He wants it all today. He wants it all today. He wants it all today. So give it all. More of you, more of you. He wants it all today. More of you, more of you. He wants it all today. Hey, more of you, sit all today. He wants it all today. He wants it all today. So give it all. Thank you.
Well, my story My name is Margaret Jefferson, and I'm speaking about embracing promise and peace. My story is to inspire other women to don't give up. Despite your struggles, don't give up. I met Gregory Sandiford in February of 2006. I was 19 years old. He was my first real relationship in which I was introduced to his family and friends. As time progressed, he showed me the attention and affection I needed, which made me fall in love with him. He promised we would be together and that he loved me and would never hurt me. In early 2007, I found that I was not happy in the relationship as I was when we first met. So I decided to break up with him. He then hit me and blackened my eye. I felt hurt and embarrassed and full of shame that he would do this to me. I decided to press charges, but found out a week later that I was pregnant with my first child. I was not aware of domestic violence and would often refer to friends who would sometimes view the issue as common or unaware of what to do. It left me searching for answers and wondering what would be the right thing to do. I did not know what to do and found myself at a crossroad of thinking, do I want to have a baby with someone that has hit me, or do I even tell him he is the father? I decided to drop the charges because I did not want the father of my child to be locked away from his son. He promised he would never hurt me again and was excited I was having our son. Javon, my son, was born November 9, 2007. Everything seemed as if it was going well. I finally was living the fairy tale life I always wanted, which consists of a 2-parent household for Javon. Things were going well, so we decided to get an apartment together, and that's when other forms of abuse began to occur. At the time, I was unaware of the different forms of abuse. I am aware what domestic violence is today and realized I went through each form of abuse unknowingly. He would call me derogatory names such as bitch or hoe and would often accuse me of cheating and would frequently like to know my every move. I felt lost and alone. I did not know what to do to get out the relationship. When I threatened to leave, he would become the sweetest person in the world, convincing me to stay. He was great with our son. Javon loved him so much, but I was unhappy in the relationship. I would try to hide my sadness away from my family and would often state that everything was okay, but it was not. I felt like I lost myself in the relationship and was unaware of what made me happy. I was beginning to break down. I started having migraines. I found myself unhappy, full of sadness, and with a broken spirit. I felt trapped internally because we shared a spiritual connection and had a child together. I found myself under financial, emotional, and psychological strain. I was stressed out and referred to what I was taught, which was to consult God with my problems. I began to pray and read the Bible, asking God to get me out of the relationship. In November 2010, I decided to leave the relationship for good. It hurt, but I felt like I was finding myself again and would be starting a new life without him. I was becoming happy again. It was Javon and I. I was content with that, although I knew Javon missed his father. 5 months later, I finally heard from his father, in which he stated he wanted to see his son. I felt that I should allow him to see his son despite the treatment I had suffered. I wanted to be the bigger person, so I allowed him to see his son. He began to come over to visit Javon often, but would also say he wanted to be a family again. I wanted to be parents for our child, and that's it, but he wanted more. I was trying to rebuild my life. I graduated from Wilbur Wright College and was then attending Northeastern Illinois University. I was trying to make a better life for Javon. September 2nd, 2011 was the most horrific day of my life. I was faced with a traumatic experience that changed my life forever. On this day, I was in the house with Javon and his father. His father and I began to argue in regards to me going to the gym with a friend. I started to get my gym clothes to change. Instead, I was raped and stabbed repeatedly. As I ran to get away, I was stabbed across my neck and he fell. He then proceeded to attempt to stab me in the heart. I managed to take the knife away from him as I struggled to get away. I ran to the front door, but he pulled me away. I then ran to the window and threw the knife out the window. I remember thinking, God, is this how I would die? I don't want to die like this. I was halfway in the window when he began to push and punch me in my face. With the inability to hold on, I was pushed from the second floor window. At the time, our 3-year-old son was still in the home. His father later obtained a knife and murdered our 3-year-old son. As the police entered the home, my son's father fled through the back door. He was later discovered by police in a nearby garage. My mind is still puzzled at how a father could murder his own son in an attempt to murder his son's mother. He had stated he loved and cared for us and would never hurt us. There are no words that can express a person's feeling when it comes to a loss of a loved one, especially a child. It is ultimately overall difficult when someone takes another person's life. For 3 years, he pleaded not guilty. This experience has taken a toll on me and my family. I did not understand how someone could be so heartless and commit such a gruesome crime. My life has been forever changed. I felt like my heart was ripped out, leaving me alone with no one to understand my pain. I would continuously cry every day and night and was unaware of how to deal with the pain I was feeling. I had support from my family and friends, but would replay the events in my mind of my final moments and days with my son, wondering if I could have done something differently. I would often blame myself because I was unable to protect my son. I felt like my heart had a hole in it and hurt every day, including today. No one could feel my pain. It was only God and me at this point. My life, my Javon, was gone. I would often wish to be with him and felt I could not live without him. I felt as if I had been stabbed in the heart and was full of guilt, hurt, and sorrow. I did not want to eat, sleep, or talk to anyone. The pain feels like a part of you has died. It is an unexplainable feeling that I would not wish on anyone. I felt like I was broken down to my ultimate low, and no one knew exactly what I was going through. Throughout the day, my family would try to keep me active by taking me places, but by the end of the day, I still had to deal with my son's death. I would constantly replay events over and over thinking, what if I did this? What if I did that? In the end, it would not bring Javon back. I could not believe this was happening to me. It was something out of a horrible movie. It was a horrible dream that I would eventually wake up from, but ultimately, it was my harsh reality in my life. I remember thinking that this is real, in a state of shock and disbelief, and often wondering why. The only one I could turn to was God. I had to rebuild my life all over again without my son, which left me lost and alone. As stated earlier, I had questions like, why is this happening to me, and how do I deal with this? I would pray and ask God to order my steps. I would often refer to the Bible of Job in the Bible where he lost everything, but God still was with him. As reflected in the story, I lost everything but continued to keep my faith like Job, and I knew God would bring me through this storm. My life would never be complete without Javon, and there is a constant void in my life without him. I could remember hearing my uncle's voice in my head saying, it's not what happens to you, it's how you let it affect you. You can either fold or you can fight mentally. I decided to fight by continuing with my education to help others. I decided to do something positive by going back to school and obtaining my bachelor's degree. In school, I found peace of mind. It was my outlet from the negativity in my life. I concentrated on my education in order to fulfill my dream of becoming a social worker. It was difficult, but I allowed my pain to be constructed into something positive instead of negative. I chose the social work profession because I would like to support others who have experienced domestic violence, bring peace to the lives of those who live in violence, and hope to educate others. After I received my BSW from Northeastern Illinois University, I decided to continue my education even further by obtaining my MSW, my master's degree, from Chicago State University. The promise I gave my son, thank you. The promise I gave my son and other sons of other mothers is that I'm going to continue to pursue my education and obtain my PhD in the future, and would like to establish a program to keep Javon memories alive. Despite this traumatic experience, I refuse to be broken. I will embrace God and will continue to strive to reach my goals. Justice was finally served for Javon in August 2014. His father was sentenced to life in prison plus 25 years. This will not bring Javon Iron Man Sandifer, as he called himself, back. He is truly Iron Man to me and a phenomenal son who has touched the lives of many. My son will forever be in my heart, and I will continue to keep his memory alive. Thank you.
Every year, the stories are so much more impactful. The truth is revealed, and we are so grateful that we are proceeding and moving forward to doing what we do because of these type of stories. These are real stories, And we thank you, ladies, so much for coming out and continuously revealing your truth. Thank you. Thank you. Everyone in the room, I don't think it's a dry eye in the room today, but that's great because that shows we care and we're connected and we love each other, so that's amazing. Hey, Dorinda. Okay, so our next, we're going to have another blessed performance by our lovely ladies here. So, one solo. Okay, so we're going to do a solo. So you want to come up, Miss Karshina, and introduce Divine Purpose Revealed.
I wanted to just say, I'm a survivor, and I'm not even scheduled to speak. But everything that the women said up here, never judge a book by its cover. This is my oldest daughter, and I was listening to the mothers, and I remember the bruises. I remember what if I stayed, because he was that angry. And for myself, I seen my mother being a domestic violence. And so I thought that was how you kept your man. That was how you kept your husband. And so it becomes a reality. And I've always been a Christian woman, so it wasn't like I didn't know God. I knew who God was. But it's just something when you're in that relationship. And I just believe that it's when you truly start loving yourself. Because I didn't really love myself. And once I began to really love myself and know my self-worth, I knew I could not stay. And so that's what made me start an organization, not just to give them a platform to perform, but also to mentor them and allow them to know what their worth and their purpose is. And they were very small. She's 18 now, getting ready for college, but what if I didn't leave? What if I had stayed? What if that was my reality and that's all it was? And so when you see those flags, as she said, controlling is not love. Going to visit your family is not, that's not love. Control is never love. And so thank you guys, but I just wanted to, I could not say that. Because so many times you look at people and you think they got it all together. And I'm not a victim, I'm a victor. And both of those mothers that I got up here, you guys are victors. And your voice and your testimonies, your stories, when you tell them, they will shift atmospheres and they will give the education to young women that heard us today. Like, violence is never the option. And thank you guys. So I'm gonna let her dance.
is more so the individuals and the hearts that have came together today to help us raise awareness and celebrate our victors, celebrate our ones who we lost as well, because their life here on earth is purposeful enough for us to move forward in their memory and do what we've done. Again, this is in honor of all of our domestic violence survivors, victors, and the ones who we've lost. Miss Vicki Myers, again, is our sole purpose that we started with doing this with our best friend's mother. And with her untimely death brought us 6 years later to continue to do what we do. So again, we want to appreciate you all and say thank you. We're going to have another beautiful selection to close us out. And they'll introduce themselves, please, once more again for the people who just came in. We are blessed to have them here. This is their first year with us. We have our CAN TV gentleman over here who's been here for 6 years as well. He's loyal. We thank him so much for being here. And again, all of you, we're going to march back once we're done, and then we'll meet back in the parking lot that we started from, okay? So we'll have you guys come on back up and close us out. So we're just going to have a moment of silence and remember those we've lost and close us out with a beautiful selection. You want to come introduce you all again in your group? Thank you, Ms. Karen.
Thank you. Well, thank you for inviting us today. You're right, there was not a dry eye in the place, mine included. And we feel honored to be here and for you to have shared your stories. So KK had said that one of her favorite songs that speaks to her experience is a song called I Remember. And it's a really popular song, so if you all know the words, if you want to sing along, feel free to do so. It's a beautiful song. I didn't know it before, but I really enjoyed it.